Gary Young was a man of many passions. Without being around him, you would never know that the father of the modern essential oil movement was also an avid rancher, farmer, equestrian, and even a jouster. Many of these side quests he passed along to me, including the medieval sport, with competition still happening at our Young Living farms. Hello and welcome to Young Living's podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is the world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils. This podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, products, lots of little fun facts, and even more. We'll also give you an opportunity to get some free product. In the studio with us today is Chyrah Bussian and Shaun Baldwin. Chyrah is the manager of the DGY Jousting Team down at our Young Living Lavender Farm in Mona, Utah. Shaun Baldwin has helped us immensely with all of our jousting shows and has been jousting for the last 15 years. If you've ever been to Excalibur, then you probably know who he is, the Black Knight. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey.
Hello there.
So jousting is a super unique hobby to get into, and I want to know what brought you both into the world of jousting.
Well, I started working at the farm about 7 years ago. I started with the draft horse team, and that was a great experience, but riding's always been the best thing for me, and once the jousting opened up, and it's got a lot to do with horses, I'm like, hey, why not? Let's give it a shot, and it's been a blast.
Needed a job at the time. It was out in Chicago. It was wintertime. I was a landscaper, so I opened up the newspaper before the internet and said, we need knights, real big, for medieval times, and got in there, and the rest was history, and I've just been doing it for the rest of my life.
So, hearing your story of both how you got started with jousting is completely different than anything else that anybody's ever experienced. So what all does getting into jousting take?
Well, I didn't know how to ride a horse when I first started, so that was one of the biggest things, was learning how to ride a horse. Squiring is another thing. You squire for about 9 months to a year while training to become a knight, and that was not fun because it was all the old school guys. They put me through the ringer, they beat me up, and I stuck it out, and I did it. And you get to just be with your horse and hit people with sticks. It's definitely a different thing, like you don't get to experience. You like adrenaline. It's a really good adrenaline rush. And, yeah, that's pretty much why I do it.
And Chyrah, you are an amazing horse trainer. You train all the horses down at our Young Living farms in Mona, Utah, all of our jousting horses. So for you, it might have been a little bit easier to start off with jousting, was it?
Oh, yes, it was, because riding, that's half of it. If you can ride a horse and have your balance, then just add a shield and a lance, and it's so much easier than having to go back and learn how to ride, because there's so much to riding.
So with jousting, what would you both say is the most difficult part about it, for you at least?
Mostly, if your horse acts up, they have a mind of their own. It's not natural for horses to do that, running at each other with sticks and shields and lances and shiny things and metal. So if during a show, like a live show, you don't have redos, you have to just go with it. So being one with a horse, that's probably like the toughest thing. Everything else, you just do it. It's repetitive. You get used to it. Your body's muscle memory. But if a horse wants to go to the left when he's supposed to go right, you're going to be fighting it. So that's probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
So
and it is something. What you mean by it not being natural is it's not something that they do not like doing. They thoroughly enjoy it. There's you can feel the difference with the horses when they're training and when we're in practice, at least I feel like. And then when they're in the show, they're a completely different animal. They're so excited. They're so ready to go. And you have a hard time containing their excitement almost. It's something that they work towards, just like when we practice, throughout most of the year and we get our 3 or 4 shows. It's all that practice and anxiety of wanting to go out into the arena and just have absolute fun.
And just being a big kid.
Yeah, that's it. So is the challenging part for you about jousting, Chyrah?
Well, I'd say just keeping focused like the crowd. I'm not huge on speaking out to people, but like I think this has just been a great experience for me. I have opened up a lot. You just go out there now, have fun, do what I'm supposed to, do the joust, and it's been a blast. Like I love being in front of the crowd now.
That's great. And in the last 7 years, you've smiled a lot more. So
Yes,
I think that's a
believe
big bonus for you.
Yes.
Seeing her come out of her shell was definitely awesome.
So break down what a typical event might look like from the stands. If you're someone that's in the stands watching the show, what can the audience expect to see?
We got stage performers that come out. We have bagpipers that come out. It's the authenticity, bringing you back to the medieval times. You get the feelings, the costumes, the horses, just the all-around excitement.
The bearded men.
The bearded men, yes. Yes. But no, you take a step away from reality and step back into time and see kind of what it would have been like if you would have grown up at that time. But yeah, it's a lot of people, I've heard a lot of grown-ups, oh, that's a kid's show, and it's not, because I've seen the adults get more into it than the kids do.
Oh yeah.
And they're the ones standing and screaming and jumping, and that's it's pretty funny. But to see all that on stage and everything come together, like you were saying about practicing, it just gets so repetitive. And when you go out and you do the show, now you're like, this is why we do it.
Yep.
So for somebody out in the crowd that's never seen it and never done it before, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So to see the smiles on their faces, that's awesome.
And we walk through all the different games that were done back in the medieval times. And some we've added as new games that we've never seen before. And that's thanks to Chyrah and her creativity in the jousting department. So what games have you added on since you started?
We've done recently the Feed the Dragon race, and it's just spears thrown together, and we got a fake dragon made that looks pretty cool.
And you grab the turkey leg off the stand,
grab a turkey leg,
run it down to the squire, and the squire throws it in the dragon's mouth.
Yep.
It's a relay race. It was a lot of fun, and the crowd enjoyed it
Yes.
at our fall festival just last week. So that was really great. We've also introduced the symbol on top of, how tall is it, 15 feet?
I'd say 25.
Oh, 25 feet.
We've got
Yeah.
it near the top of that flagpole, and it's just like a band symbol, and we have rubber tips on the end of arrows, and you ride by and try to make them sound off. And
Without missing the tarp that is supposed to catch the arrows.
Yes, so the arrows don't fly into
And
the crowd.
instead the crowd might catch one, which they
You
almost
might get an
did.
arrow. Yep.
A couple went outside the arena.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was windy that day, so I'm not going to say that you guys weren't good at what you were doing. You were fighting nature on that one. For
It
sure.
It is a lot more challenging than I thought it would be.
So why do we do the games? For somebody that doesn't understand why we do the games, explain why we do them.
For skill. You got it's more for combat. Why jousting was created in the games and all this was to keep the knights intact when they were not in war. And then it just slowly ended up turning out to be more for the king, more for show. But it was to keep the military on guard and keep them.
So it was another form of training and conditioning.
Yeah, keep them so they weren't sloppy when they went out into the battlefields.
And some of those games involve the spear, where you grab the spear and you throw it into the hay bale or whatever it may be. You have the rings on the ring quintain. As you're riding by, you're grabbing the rings off of this pole that's a little bit higher than you while riding a horse. And it all seems super easy when you're watching the knights do it. But a lot of people don't realize that horse is very clunky. You've got a lot of movement going on. You're not only controlling the horse, but your lance. And then if there's wind, like there was, on the last day, you have to adjust for the wind pushing the rings and stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. And so, yes, like you said, that's to help us practice with our aim and our targeting when we do go into the list and joust. So what does the equipment look like and feel like when it's all on you?
Armor-wise?
Armor-wise, yeah.
Armor-wise, I hope you're not claustrophobic, because your movements are very slim to none. You can't see out of the helm.
You have very, like, your eyesight, your eye line, your vision is just terrible in there. You can only see straight out.
Yeah.
Because the slits are, very small, so when the lance does break, you don't end up having a shard go into your eye or a piece of wood or whatever it may be.
Yeah, they're trying for full protection and just a little bit of mobility. So it's about, I want to say about 100 pounds, depending if you're wearing chainmail. Chainmail is going to add another 50 to 75 pounds. You could get up to about 200 pounds.
Yeah, and that's in full armor.
Yeah.
That's for full metal jousting, heavy armor jousting.
Yes.
For light armor, what we usually do, so our gorgets and our gauntlets, our chest and back plate, it's about 30.
Yeah,
I'd
you're
say.
not. It's
30 to 40 pounds.
You're more a leather than metal.
Yeah.
So you can move around a little bit more to do the games and do everything. In heavy armor jousting, there's only so much that you can do, games-wise. It's pretty much just jousting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with jousting, once you get to the jousting part, what steps, what all is involved with the scoring? How does it all work?
First, we back the horses into the list, so we're not facing the way that we're running, just to keep them standing. So we have squires. They hand us our armor. We armor up, helmets, and then our shields and lances. Once we are all prepared and ready to come about, our herald will tell us to come about.
And the herald is the announcer.
Yes, the announcer. And we'll come around, face each other, and once he yells charge on, just drop the reins. The horses are trained to go straight, and then bring our shield up. And shield presentation is huge. If you don't have your shield up, there's a lot of risk in you getting hit, or it's hard for the opponent to hit you. And we're doing it for show, so we want the crowd to see this so they can feel the excitement and hear the hit, and just it's incredible.
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
And making sure the shield is in the place where it needs to be, because that's what you're aiming for, is the shield. So for those of you who are watching, it's kind of hard to explain this, but basically think of yourself almost like clocking yourself in the jaw. You have your elbow as high up as you can and your fist about an inch or two away from your face, and you're making sure that your left arm is absorbing the hit from the shield. If you don't have the right presentation, you can expose your chest, get hit in the chest, get hit in the face, which has happened to me before. And it's not fun. I highly don't recommend it.
Well, in competition, too, if your shield's not presented correctly, then you're going to lose points.
Yes. So the point system, it's 1 point for a hit, and then 5 points for a broken lance. And usually, sometimes, depending on the herald, if the shield is not presented well, or if the knight strikes in the incorrect spot, then points are taken away or they're not added. It just depends on which show that you're at. Yeah. Our show down at the Mona Farm, we just go by the hit and the break of the lance. And sometimes Shaun should have his points taken away for not presenting his shield correctly.
Well, I am also the bad guy, so I should be able to get away with cheating a little bit. It happens, on big days when the crowd's as large as it was this past Saturday at Fall Festival. I think we were all pretty much
just so excited. We just wanted to hit each other.
It's been about 2 years.
Yeah, and so shield presentation was just out the door. Yeah.
I think we passed each other and maybe just tapped shields, me and you, a couple times, and then I cheated the last one and won, but it had to happen, and they needed to see a break.
So with the points and the scoring, how many laps do you do usually?
It typically depends. Right now in our show, we do 3 passes. And it's going to be, so we have 2 girls that joust, and then the 2 boys joust, and then the boy and girl joust, and then I come out, the bad guy, and joust.
And joust whoever won that.
Yeah, so we're doing 3 passes per them, and then when I joust, I'm doing 4 passes, just to, the crowd loves it.
So it sounds staged, but it really isn't. For those of you listening, you're like, oh, so this person this day will joust against the Black Knight. No, it's whoever does the best, and whoever wins jousts Shaun. And Friday and Saturday, we all went after it. Luckily and gratefully, I won Friday and Saturday. I sadly did not win Sunday, and that was due to getting hit in the face. I'm going to use that as my excuse, by the way. So it's a very valid excuse.
We saw you already looking at that gate before you got hit, so we knew it was over.
And Chyrah wanted a piece of Shaun, and so they went at it since Chyrah won, and Shaun unhorsed Chyrah.
Yeah. And it's real. It happened.
It is.
Yep.
It was not staged.
The danger is real. The accidents, the bruises, the broken bones, the bruised ribs, it's all real. And so I guess that leads us into my next question, and I know people ask this all the time, is how dangerous is it really? If you get up there and you joust somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, you're going to get hurt. Typically in this industry, anybody that's jousting has been doing it, and they know what it consists of. But it's a sport. Yeah.
You're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt. Broken hands, broken wrists, hands,
cracked
fingers,
sternum,
yeah,
concussions.
You're getting hit with a stick at 25 miles an hour plus.
So at that speed, what does that impact look like?
It's a car accident.
Car accident at 60 miles an hour almost is
pretty much
what it equates to.
Yeah, it's like 5,000 pounds of pressure, they say, or something. And that's and the heavy armor that some of these guys do, the real stuff, because this is theatrical. This is pretty.
Yeah.
The
it's
heavy
a lot
armor,
nicer and safer.
Yeah, the heavy armor guys, those guys, they're taking hits. They're getting hit hard, and they come away seeing stars, not knowing their names, bleeding. It's getting knocked off their horses, and I give them props. Those guys, they can take a hit. I do it for fake, so I know how it feels to do it for fakes. I don't think I would want to do it for real.
And what do you mean by fakes? For those who don't know what you mean.
With how we do it, I don't want to give out the tricks of the trade, but the hits aren't as hard as they could be. They're meant to make it look hard, but
it's also at a safe way.
Yeah.
So our tips are removable, and they're made from balsam. And balsam is a somewhat fragile wood, so it tends to break a lot more easily than most woods. And depending on the day and how big we want the breaks, sometimes we might put slits down the sides of these tips to get them to break more so the hits aren't as hard. And other days, if we're really going after it, then Shaun will mess with the tips, and he won't do anything to them, and the hits will be even twice as hard.
It's like hitting a 2x4.
And some of those tips, it's almost like a Russian roulette. Like, you do not know with those tips. Some of them are consistent with the hits and how they break. Others are a lot harder and heavier, and so they're a harder hit.
I shake my tip now to see the noise that it makes. I can tell now.
Yeah. So I think this is a fun question to ask. What's the worst hit that you two have experienced?
Mine was actually just the other night at Sunday during the Fall Fest. Went up against Shaun, and he unhorsed me. It was not expected, but of course those happen.
I wish I could post the video for everyone to see, because you literally look like a cartoon character falling off the back of the horse.
She was trying to get back up there.
I was close to getting back on, but it was a little weird for my horse. He didn't know what was happening. He was feeling me on behind him, and he took off a little bit more, and that speed just threw me back more and ended up hitting the dirt. So,
and I'm glad it was me that did it. I am. I trained her, so it's like if anybody else would have knocked her off her horse, I would have been like, man, that was my chance.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, it was
hit wise. Oh my God, there's so many. There's years of being hit in Renaissance fairs. I think Chris, when we were doing the heavy armor, he hit me so hard it sat me up, and I had no idea what had happened. I thought I broke my collarbone. I lost my voice because the armor hit me in my throat. That was probably the hit of the lifetime right there.
Yeah, I would say mine before Sunday was getting hit right in the sternum. It cracked my sternum, and breathing was difficult. It was not fun. But this Sunday, took a nice hit to the face. Had an inside hit. My shield folded upward and uppercutted me, and then the rest of the lance got me in the face. And apparently you guys were telling me I just looked like a sardine on top of the horse, just flopping around until I got to the end of it. Yeah, I collapsed. I'm surprised I didn't get unhorsed from that.
You stayed in the saddle.
I've been, each time Chris and I go at it, we're very close to unhorsing each other.
He almost pushed himself off.
Yeah, so that I would say that's the worst hit I've experienced yet. I'd say the other one that was the worst one was, I think it was like my second year in when we finally upgraded to the Percherons. And I can't remember, I was going against Pony. And that was the one where my wrist buckled and snapped on that hit. And it was because I didn't let it slide through. I gripped it and my wrist just went with the lance. So, yeah, it's painful. It's real. I mean, it is staged in its own way, but what you see is what happens, and there's only so much that we can actually stage.
It takes a certain kind of crazy to get up there and do it consciously knowing what could happen.
Yeah.
The horses, like we were talking about earlier, is that it's unnatural for a horse. They don't do it in nature. They don't run at each other like that.
No.
So they're just as crazy as we are.
Yeah.
To get up there and run at each other with sticks and all this, and
we have some crazy horses, that's for sure.
And then laugh about it.
Yeah.
that's the good thing, is that we laugh about it when we're done jousting.
We all have fun with it. That's the thing. Jousting is a very intense sport, and with intense sports comes bruises and pains. And so for this giveaway, we are going to give you Cool Azul Pain Relief Cream. This Cool Azul cream offers fast-acting relief from minor muscle and joint aches with the aromatic combination of Wintergreen Premium Essential Oil and Young Living's exclusive Cool Azul Premium Essential Oil blend. If you'd like to get this Cool Azul cream, all you have to do is comment Cool Azul down below on this YouTube video. Good luck! So a lot of people always wonder, how did Young Living get its own team and its own jousting arena down at its Lavender farm in Mona, Utah? And it's a lot more of a simple story than people think. So back in 2001, a movie called Knight's Tale was released, starring Heath
Is this
Ledger.
what got you into jousting?
Kinda, sorta.
Okay. Seeing the movie?
So it's what got my father started with jousting. So as you know, my dad was just one of those people where he saw something, he wanted to do it, he just went and did it. Nobody could stop him. He just went all out, and he wasn't going to stop until he completed what he wanted to do. And so after watching that movie, he's like, man, that'd be something so cool to add down to our farm as an event. And I'm going to star in the show. And my mom said, Gary, that's crazy. You're 56 years old. Quit dreaming. And he said, no, I really want to do it. And she's like, all right, go for it then. So he did some extensive research, ended up finding some people that got him connected with the world champion at the time, Shane Adams. Yeah. And they went down to California and trained for a little bit. And then 6 months later after training, they went up to the World Championships in 2002 in Ontario, Canada. And he placed third in the games and then second in combined arms, which is what they called their jousting. And ever since then, my dad said, okay, well, now that I've done it, I know what it takes. I know what we all need. He built the arena, hired a team, brought some people down, and we've had it ever since. And when he started doing that, I wanted to become involved with it.
I had a friend call me out of the blue, said that, Young Living's looking for knights in Mona, Utah. And, I know a lot of different places for jousting, and I've never once heard of Mona, Utah. And I came out, and it was legit. He had a full-on arena.
And so, just like you said, every knight has to start as a squire. They have to learn how to hand stuff to the knights, how to armor the knights, how to clean the horses and muck the stalls. And it's the dirty work. You have to do the dirty work in order to sit on the throne, right? And the throne being the knight on top of the horse. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. But, man, I prefer being a knight on top of the horse.
So much more.
Yeah. Being a squire, you're the extension, the hands of the knight, because they can't be on the ground doing everything.
Yeah.
Squiring, no, not fun.
Yeah. So, my father always said, that he was introduced to the world of jousting from the movie A Knight's Tale. And a lot of people always ask if that's a accurate depiction of jousting or Game of Thrones or any other TV show or movie that you've seen with jousting. And I this is my opinion. I think Knight's Tale did a pretty good job on accurately depicting jousting. I have seen the scene in Games of Thrones where they do jousting. It felt a little bit more dramatized than what it actually is. And I feel like what we do is pretty accurate to how it was. Obviously, we're a bit more upgraded with shields and lance and armor and stuff, but I'd say it's pretty close to how it was done back in the day.
Yeah. The Knight's Tale was a little bit more of a fantasy,
a Hollywood
love story. In Game of Thrones, that they're not trying to kill each other. Back in the medieval century, when they did this, like I said, it was for training purposes. They were not trying to kill because those are the best soldiers. They're not going to go and kill their best soldiers in practice. And then on the battlefield, you never really see knights in armor, just because of the fact that they couldn't.
Yeah, the mobility.
Yeah, they couldn't move. They were just a target. So it was more for show. But yeah, I think your show at Young Living is pretty much what you're going to get if you go back to the 14th, 15th century of jousting. It's all for the fun.
So what does the community look like for jousting in 2021?
Well, any jouster wants it to be in the Olympics. They want it to be that big. It's a small circle. There's certain troops that do the shows around the United States, the Renaissance fairs, and all that stuff. If you do this, you pretty much know everybody. It's small. It's trying to grow, but it's an expensive thing. It's not cheap to do.
It's expensive, and people don't realize how taxing it is as well.
Yeah.
I remember, all the people that we've had come onto the team, and after one show, they're like, "Yeah, I can't do this. I didn't realize it was this much. It was this much work. There was that much involved." And I don't blame them. It's a lot, but I don't think that people realize what they're really getting into.
Yeah.
And so that show, we kind of always call people's first show the make it or break it show, to see
the icebreaker.
Yeah, the icebreaker, to see if people end up staying on or not. So now that we've got people interested in jousting, how can they come take part in the events? Is this by watching, or do they get into jousting themselves?
I would start out by watching, because
watch to make sure it's something. Oh, hey,
yeah,
you can see the knights actually.
Oh yeah, well, and watching
and
and doing is two different things. Like,
yeah,
yes, very.
You think that you like it, but be around it. You don't want to go invest all this money in armor and horses and training and this and that just to come out and be like, nah, I don't like it. So I would say go to the Renaissance fairs. Go anytime there's jousting. Go check it out. Go watch it. Now they're doing night fights, and that stuff's real.
Yeah.
Like
with the full armor and the longbow swords, or what are they called? The really long swords that they use.
Man, broadswords.
Broadswords, yeah. There's
so many different names for them, but I would never do that because I like my body. But anytime you could be around the medieval century type guilds and Renaissance, and it's fun. It takes you away from reality.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people fall in love with is to be able to dress up and go and escape. You're not working. You don't have to think about work or paying bills.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. And it's a family. When you're in the Renaissance, they all travel together throughout the year.
Yeah.
So they become really good friends and family, and it's a life. It's a different lifestyle.
So for you, it sounds like your favorite part of jousting is the escape and the dress up and just being part of such a small community that's so well knit and intertwined with everybody else.
Yeah.
What about you, Chyrah? What's your favorite part about it?
I love everything there. The horses. It's something different. Nobody can go anywhere, and you hear them say "Hey, what do you do?" "Oh, I joust." "What?" It's just the unique of it, and the rush.
Yeah.
I can't find the words.
Junkie.
Yeah, it's.
she likes to hit people.
Hey, not gonna lie, the first few times I jousted, I hated it. I don't know what it was. It was just not for me. But once you just slow down the pace and do step for step, it's crazy how fast it can come together once you just the shield muscle memory now, and you just bring your lance down and aim for that spot on the target. It's It's so much fun.
Well, once you're not fighting yourself,
Yep.
and you learn how everything works together, and
Yep.
it's easier. Because
Yeah.
everybody just thinks, get on a horse and go. And then
No.
they're like, no, this is, then they get angry, and
Yep.
it's not fun. And that's why we lose people into,
Yeah.
into the jousting. They don't want to do it because it overwhelms them so fast.
Yeah.
So
For me personally, and it's kind of the same thing that my dad always said, for him, he's like, it's not too often you got to tell people that you get paid to hit people with a big stick.
Everyone always
Yep.
asks again. It's like, what? Wait, what did you do?
Yep.
And then you have to actually explain. Yes, this is jousting. What you're thinking it is, and
we're just big kids.
yep.
Yep.
We did this on our lawns when we were
Big
5 years
kids
old.
living the dream.
Yeah, like we run around, play nights, and do all this stuff as kids, and to grow up and actually get to do it for fun and get paid for it and enjoy it as a lifestyle. Yeah, any day.
I love it. Well, thank you both so much for coming on to
Thank
the
you
show.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to Chyrah and Shaun for coming on to the show and talking about our shared love of jousting. And thank you for tuning into this episode of The Wild Drop. Remember, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, and on our newly refurbished website at www.youngliving.com. Don't forget to oil up, Young Living family. And this is Jacob Young, dropping out.
The YL Drop is produced in our studios at Young Living Global Headquarters with assistance from Paul Eagleston, Cole Wissinger, Ren Soph, and of course our host, Jacob Young.